Good morning, beautiful people of the internet. It's that day again. Wonderful January 6th anniversary. For some of you, this is a day that will live with me. For others of you, this is a tremendous day where, freedom was fought for. And for the vast majority of you, it's just stupid. It's a day where stupid people did stupid things, and we have to hear about it until probably the next election, and then a little bit afterward. And I'm here to tell you why. I'm here to talk about it and kind of pull up a few things, explain why this is stupid, but why we're still hearing about it. But feel free if you like my content to like and subscribe, and let's get into it. First off, as you surely have noticed, there's a bunch of articles coming out today about all this wonderful January 6th crap. And why are we still hearing about this, right? It was just a stupid day where some stupid people did some stupid things. What are they? A few thousand people have been arrested and charged or are in charge. We got the bad man with the horn hat. But these are things we're concerned about, right? This is a few people who did some stupid thing. But we can't talk about the riots that happened over the summer where thousands of people burned down buildings. We won't prosecute them. We won't worry about that. But this is a bigger thing because it happened in a federal building. Keep in mind that some of those riots did attack federal buildings or courthouses that were set on fire or attempted to be set on fire with people in them. But that's completely different. The big reason you're still hearing about this is because the Democrats have had a terrible year. Biden, if you can't tell by his freaking approval rating, he's in the trash. Kamala Harris even lowering him. Who would have guessed? The girl who couldn't even get a single delegate to vote for her in her primary is one of the most unliked politicians in recent. Well, I guess that would, I think all-time terrible stats is what presidency leads in, right? But that's why you see things like this. To preserve our democracy, we must bar insurrectionists from the ballot. And I think this is what is the most telling of what the plan is. Is if they can mark anyone they can tie to it, they think they can make a case constitutionally to take them off any ballot anywhere. No, I think the laws that they cite in this article, talking about, I think it was the 14th Amendment that was put in place after the Civil War, talking about how it bans insurrectionists and rebels from holding public office, federal office, is good. And I'm not saying that the people who did stuff were not. I don't think I wouldn't call it an insurrection, but if you can make that case, that's fine. But it was so few and so small. Like this is why it's still on the ballot. This is why we're still talking about it. Is because that's all they have to talk about. It's the only way everyone who's looking forward sees a massive red wave. Which we should turn some of that yellow. We really should. Better for everyone. Live and let live. But they foresee that they're looking at the future and they have nothing. They have nothing to stand on. Their policies are garbage. Their personalities are garbage. You have a president who's not even there half the time. He's had quite a few slips. I'm sure we all remember the Nazi flags incident, or as he said, the other word, or when he used a racial slur, or just a bunch of the other outlandish shit he said. Kamala Harris, she's can't even get out of her own way. I don't know. Imagine being selected to be vice president of the United States because you're a woman and you're black. And those are your only two qualifications. Well, that's what we got. So yeah, like they've had the worst year possible. There's nothing. Their policies, they haven't had one good policy win outside of I think the first bill they had was COVID relief bill. It's the only thing that they got passed. Build Back Better is essentially dead in the water. Joe Manchin freaking killed that. That was a big story about 2 weeks ago, right? So his infrastructure deal's not coming through. He probably won't get another COVID relief bill because they they lose on COVID too. But that's why we have to talk about January 6th still. That's why we're still hearing about it, right? And this is why we heard about Russiagate for 2 years after Donald Trump's election because he stole the election. We got to get him out. Blah blah blah. And then we found out that that was all based upon a lie. The Steele dossier was garbage. The FBI, some of them should be heavily prosecuted based upon the evidence that came out in the Mueller report. There we go. Right. And then we went to the Ukraine scandal, which depending on how you want to view it, was not a scandal or was a scandal. If it's a scandal, then Joe Biden did the same thing. Well, he's vice president, and blah blah blah. If it is a scandal, then they're both fine. It doesn't matter, right? Uh, but that's all. That's why we impeached the president twice. That was another great debacle. It failed miserably because we impeached him, and now he can't be, elected again. Good job, Nancy Pelosi. Real good politicking right there. But that's why we're still hearing about January 6th, is because they have no other wins. They have nothing in their corner. Nothing. This was supposed to be the presidency, that would be able to handle COVID and bring us back out of this dark time. Instead, we are going on year 2 of COVID, our third variant, and we're looking at locking down again as the mass spread of Omicron or is it Omicron? I don't. Who cares? The new stupid fucking COVID thing. It's still here, and this was the presidency that was going to solve it. Keep in mind that when the vaccines were first developed, both Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were, as one would mark them, vaccine hesitant, and therefore Twitter should be taking them down. But we don't talk about that. Uh, I'm not going to take anything Donald Trump, made her. I think was almost the exact words Kamala Harris used. So they can't win on COVID because COVID's still here. It's still kicking everyone's ass. The thing is, Joe Biden even came out the other day, and this had to be walked back, and said there's nothing the federal government can do. It's up to the states. These were his comments, which had to be walked back because we can't say things out loud that are true. So they can't win on COVID because of their terrible politicking. I mean, not sorry, they can't win on COVID because terrible policies, right? So they're staring down the barrel of a gun when it comes to COVID, because either they say that there's nothing they can do, which means everything they've done for the past year is basically worthless and useless, and it was a waste of everyone's time, or they continue, or they double down on what they've done, which is led us to economic disaster, right? That's we're at a 39, 40-year high of inflation based upon these policies, which isn't so if they double down on COVID, then they screw the economy even worse. But then they've already screwed it, right? Which is another area they've completely, utterly lost in. The inflation rate is at a 39-year high. Here you go, and this is from CNN. This is an article from CNN Business talking about why prices will keep soaring in 2022. Right? So the most recent price index data we have is from November, when two of the most watched inflation measures, the Consumer Price Index and Personal Consumption Expenditure Index, each climbed to a 39-year high. Like this is them. This is the policies. This is the outcome. So if they double down, who knows? Who knows how high inflation will go? It's supposed to be transitory. That's what I heard certain people say. Looking at you, Sauger, over on Crystal and Sauger. Hopefully you corrected those statements a while ago. But you are an econ major, I believe that's what your degree's in. So that tells you all you need to know about her or him. Sorry, I didn't mean to misgender you. Whatever you are, Sauger. Also, keep in mind AOC is an econ major. So that just tells you what kind of people go for that degree. Biden presidency has lost on COVID because either they admit they were completely wrong and they can do nothing about it because they can't, or they double down on what they've done so far. One of them leads even deeper to economic downturn, which we're already in. If you haven't felt it with the rising prices everywhere on everything, you lost there. But then keep in mind, we also have a wonderful little debacle that happened in the foreign policy front. Yeah, I know. I'm sure we all remember seeing this, and we probably should, seeing as there was people falling off of airplanes trying to leave this country. That was literally what happened. People were risking their lives to get the F out of this shit zone. And that was on Biden's orders, right? And this, yet again, this is not some far right article written about him. This is another one from CNN Politics. CNN. And you know it's bad if CNN's willing to criticize him on it, right? So, bam, there you go. There's no wins. There absolutely is no wins. Biden came out and walked back or I don't even know if he walked it back, but his promise of canceling student loan debt, that's dead in the water. We can't get a Green Deal going because we can't get anything passed, which is another large failure. Like when your plans are so terrible, you can't even get your majority. They have 50 seats plus the vice president is the tiebreaker, right? They could get things through, but they can't get their own freaking party to support their plans. This is why we have to talk about January 6th. This is why January 6th will not die until after the next election cycle. And it's still extremely unpopular. It's an extremely unpopular subject, but it's all they have. And it's funny. So we're going to look at some cartoons now, just because I want to show you how stupid the take is. Happy January 6th with Benedict Arnold. This is actually kind of funny. And it's on the nose. Particularly, it doesn't make a terrible take, outside of the fact that, if you think it's an insurrection, which you can make the argument it was, this is actually kind of good, on point. Kudos. I love the callback to the American Revolution. Thank you very much, sir. Don Doing is it Don with an I don't know. That's weird. Don Langring. Thank you to that creator. Go on. So this is I think one of my favorites, right? So one nation under mob, reprehensible with timidity, malice, and malice for all. One nation under mob. Do we not remember the Summer of Love, as it was called by some, where literally, I think every major city in the U.S. had rioting. Then we had the Chad or CHOP or whatever it was called, the indigenous zone where people were dying. It was annexed, and they eventually had to go in and take it over. Are we forgetting about all that mob rule, or uh, all the terrible shit that was happening then, or the attempted jury tampering that was just happening with the Kyle Rittenhouse case, right? Where there was literally people standing outside the courthouse yelling about how he better get a guilty verdict. The mob literally trying to undermine justice. So, and this is all from the left, right? Now, that's why it makes this delicious, is their inability to look in the mirror. So if you're going to sit here and state, Andy, that the right is trying to force down mob rule without also implementing the left and the amount of garbage crap they've put through, literally a whole summer writing, defund the police. We had in these autonomous zones that popped up where it was literally mob rule. They didn't allow public services in. They multiple people would died because of it. There was literally shootings where the ambulances were sitting at the gates and they wouldn't go in because they wouldn't let the cops in, and they're not going into that shit show. Would you? Capital violence. Sure. I guess whatever. We turned our lips into the barrel of a rifle. Looks like. I don't agree with you, but it's not ironic in any way. Don't care. Lock me up. This is funny, right? So, for those of us who are old enough to remember, of course it's from Don. Don, you know it. You might be the best one here. The 2016 campaign and the debates where what did Donald Trump say about Hillary Clinton? He said, "You're right. If I was in office, you'd be locked up," and that was like his big chant. Ooh, the big zinger. Uh, if you can, Trump's such a piece of shit, slimy scumball. The fact that we haven't found anything to put him away yet is kind of disturbing, right? Because all you hear about all the like terrible things, like his own, like the fraud his college has committed, like in like is being committed. Um, you hear about all this other shit, but I don't think anything he did under his presidency was what should get him locked up. I think it's all the other crap, right? So, but that's not up to me. I don't run the DOJ. I'm not in charge of like who does what or who sees shit. So let's make sure that we probably looking the other way. But Don, yet again, I like it. It's actually on the nose and very funny. Osama bin Donald, the mastermind. I don't think anyone could ever say Donald Trump has been the mastermind of anything. The man's a huge fucking egotist. Okay, Don, you want it with this one? I will give you that, right? Can I get my Trump stamp removed? Trump stamp being a tramp stamp. And you know how, the white girl, the trashy white girl, they regret that decision. This is on this. This might be the best one. This I don't know. It's hard, Don, but you did good. I cannot tell a lie. Antifa did it. I don't know what we're going here, Andy. The Gazette, obviously, cannot tell a lie. Is that George Washington or is that Abraham Lincoln? It's one of two. Sedition, Discord, uh, outrage. I don't know what you're going for here, particularly because no Capitol Police died during the insurrection. Yes, they were assaulted. Fine, that's great. If that's gonna be the lowest bar we set, then, like I said, do I need to talk about the riots again? No. So, Andy, yet again, another bad take. It's okay, buddy. You'll get one eventually. Stop the steal or start the succession. Mm. Yeah. Funny thing over here is right is this whole secession talk. Yeah, that's actually popped up recently. Is there's secession talk on both sides. It's not just one way, right? You have the far left who wants to get the fuck out, and the far right who wants to get the fuck out, and it's very minuscule one ways. Will it happen? I doubt it. But not the worst one, Andy. Oh, this is Dave. You know what? This is honestly, this is very akin to Andy's one about mob rule. Because yeah, pro Trump. You know what? There was a little anarchy. There was some violence. There was thugs and there was terror. You're right. So you're not wrong. But the irony of it is that these were tactics that were employed before the insurrection during the Summer of Love. Yet again, we'll talk. Let's just talk about it again. The riots, right? So come on. The irony and the hypocrisy here is just it's overwhelming. It's too delicious, buddy. I love what you went for here, but look in the mirror. Still think that they're not deplorable? No, you called anyone who didn't vote for you deplorable, so that'd be people like me, people in the middle. That's who are deplorable. That I don't give a shit about. Yes, there are some very bad individuals on the right, but there's also some pretty freaking disgusting individuals on the left too. I think there's fuck them both. Let's take that stance. That's a good stance, I think. Uh, yeah, this is a little more on point. Yeah, upside down flag. Obviously, U.S. in distress. Sweating angle. Don, I like your imagery. Don't agree with your politics, but it's fine. Free toasters, free metal forks. Who could have foreseen an electrocution? I don't know. Who could have? Oh man, I don't. It's time. You know what? I agree. I agree, Uncle Sam. Can we not vote for this guy again? Yes, I do miss his tweets. Like they were funny. He he did have a very bull in the China shop uh, effect, which it was fun to watch. But we did that. Let's move on to something bigger and better, like a libertarian candidate. Let's do that, right? And another day it'll live in infamy. Yep, okay. It will live in infamy because the Democrats are never going to let you forget it. So that's it. That's what we got today. Until next election cycle, or I'm sorry, until these midterms at least, you're going to hear about this. And maybe after that it dies because it doesn't play well. Then when the 2024 presidential, excuse me, so when the 2024 presidential election happens, I think that's when it might bring up. So we're probably in for another 3 years of this crap. But get used to it. Get used to it because they got nothing else for now. And I don't foresee Biden getting any wins because if what happens, as a lot of people predicted, this red wave comes through, then how Biden? He's not gonna be able to get any wins. He will have literally no push no on policy because he can't even get. Imagine that he can't even get shit through with when his party controls the Senate and the House of Representatives. You think he's going to be able to get anything done with more Republicans? No. That's why you should be voting Libertarians. We'll do what's best for the people and fuck the party. We work for the people, not the party. At least that's what I would like to believe, and that's what I believe in. So, um, but yeah, so prepare for another 1 to 3 years of this garbage, and hopefully I'll be around next year to do another video on this. But just want to say thank you again for watching. If you like content, like, subscribe, and I'll be putting out another video sometime next week. I'm just gonna try and keep it to a video a week for now, depending on what happens. But thank you yet again, and y'all have a wonderful day.